Brother Torrey, let's do it. Yeah. Yeah, you can see a lot better with that.
Turn him on the lights out, he said.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't need them. Just the prayer lights is plenty. Yeah. Yeah, that's better. Well, that's the flight. There's Brother Alviar and myself. There's me and Brother Alviar. We're in deep prayer. There we are eating right at Newark, New Jersey. Oh yeah, that's what they were doing in that airplane. Those Jews. About 30 minutes, wasn't it, Andy?
Close to an hour.
Yeah. All the time, about an hour, they did that praying. Them are Orthodox Jews. And they didn't care who it bothered either.
No.
That's our first sight of Israel. I think that's where we're going in the hotel, yeah.
No, it's the airport.
Oh, that's the customs, okay. They're very particular you coming in there. They really check you out.
Pull Clark aside.
They pull Clark aside every time. Of course, he kind of looks like a criminal. And all of our luggage made it. This is our hotel at Tel Aviv. This is a view of our hotel of the Mediterranean Ocean. This is Tel Aviv. Brother Obed said he could read. I'm glad to know that. I never knew that before. That's right up by Jaffa. That's they got that. That's for Jonah and the whale. There. They were at Jaffa and Joppa. Our guide. Pause that just a minute, Brother Torrey. Our guide really would be one of the best guides of Israel. I'm going to tell you what, how connected he was. His son was Secret Service for Netanyahu. And the first night we was there, his son was having supper with Netanyahu. And everywhere we went, no matter where we went, everybody knew who he was. His name was Shlomo. And he was a Bible scholar.
Yes, he was.
When it come to the Old Testament and the New Testament. Now, he wasn't a Christian, but he believed in Jesus, believed Jesus worked them miracles. He just didn't believe he was the Messiah. And there was no way to tell you how much he narrated. I mean, he spared no narrate. Matter of fact, I mean, narrated too much. But we got a real trip. Now, this is this Java? Where is this?
Jaffa.
Yeah, okay, this is Java. Okay. There's Simon the Tanner's house. You remember when the Lord spoke to Cornelius and said, you send someone down to Simon Tanner's house, and there'll be a man there that'll come and tell you what you ought to do. Well, this was his house. They're 99 and 9/10 sure. Am I right, Brother Andy? Right. That this was really his house right there. This is still St. Peter's Church at Jaffa. Now, the next day we went to Caesarea. I mean, these stones are thousands of years old. A lot of this was built even before Jesus' time. See, Solomon built the first temple, and it was destroyed by Babylon. Then there was a second temple built, and Antiochus Epiphanes, when he come in there, he destroyed it. Well, then when Rome began to rule the whole area, this was Herod. Now, this wasn't the Herod that was there where Jesus. This would be his father or grandfather that had built this. The one. So this is pre-Jesus when this was built. This Herod here he would be, if I'm not mistaken, he's the grandson of the one. I'm not sure. It's son or the grandson. All right, go ahead. It's massive. What, 25, 30,000 people?
I don't remember the amount.
I don't remember, but it was a huge amount. There's the remains of Herod's palace. This is the underground cell where Paul could have possibly spent 2 years of his life. Now, how they do it in Israel on these historical deals, you got A, B, and C. And A is their positive, nearly 100%. B, like 75%. If I'm not mistaken, this was B, right?
This was A.
This was A.
This was A.
Okay, this was A. So
It matches 3 categories.
okay, so they're nearly sure this is where Paul was at when he wrote Philippians and a lot of his letters. This is the jail he was at, his prison. Entrance to the prison. It's down in the earth.
They just discovered that 2 months ago.
Yeah, they hadn't discovered that very long. That's a new discovery. There's no way to describe, because you just see in this picture how massive this is. It was such a massive place. I don't know, what would you say, Andy? It was
Several hundred feet.
yeah, several hundred feet plus. I mean, it's several times the size of this building. It's several times. It was humongous. Yeah, that mosaic tile still remains. You know, that's near 2,000 years. Plus before that. That is the Sea of Galilee. Right? Is that Tiberias?
Mediterranean.
Mediterranean. Okay. Now, what is this?
This is just stuff around Caesarea.
It's just stuff around Caesarea. Now, Caesarea was up by Tiberias. Was that up by the, what was that sea up there? Do you remember that sea up there? The sea that was, this wouldn't have been,
Are you thinking of Capernaum?
yeah, Capernaum.
You're thinking of Capernaum.
I'm thinking of Capernaum, yeah. This is where they feel like that Elijah called down the fire on Mount Carmel, and this is a statue commemorating that. Do you remember what the hell?
This is where we went down by the water.
Okay, this is where we went down with water. This is the Valley of Armageddon. This is where the last battle in Revelation is going to be fought. Here's the Battle of Armageddon right here. But it's a huge valley. These storms come from up out of nowhere. This is still, it's still Armageddon, Valley of Megiddo. This is Brother Aviv on top of Mount Carmel, where the fire came down. Megiddo, it's one of the oldest cities in the world, right here. The stones are just awesome. It's unreal. 25 layers of ruins found around here. They're different ruins from different time periods, I think. It's different civilizations. This is still there, isn't it? What's that? Just where Abraham walked through the gates. Where sacrifices were made. Them are flowers. That's Nazareth. Now, let me tell you there's no way to comprehend this unless you're there. Of course, you know Israel's surrounded by enemies wherever. But in the nation of Israel itself, there are towns that are completely run by the Arabs. And in those cities, there are big red signs that Jews cannot come in there. Matter of fact, they'll arrest them if they go in there. And so our guide, if we had a guide besides a Jew, we could went in there. But Nazareth is one of those cities that's under that. Nazareth and Bethlehem and Jericho. All three have big red signs that, no, the Arabs are free to go anywhere they want to go in Israel. They're free to go. And that is, there's an A, B, and C to that too. The A is where they were allowed to go, right? B, where there was not allowed, they could not go into these Arab cities. And I mean, like from the back of this church across the road would be a distance between a Jewish community and an Arab community. And now the roads, they called them C, because they were owned by Israel, and the Jews were protected to drive on those roads. But if they turned off and went into Nazareth or to Bethlehem or Jericho, they could get arrested. Yeah, their license plate. The Jewish license plates are one color, and the Arab license plates are one color. So it is very militia. I mean, it's unreal. And I was telling Clark or Brother Andy one, you know, when you go there and see how, I mean, they're all right there together. When you drive into Jerusalem, you got this one whole side that's thousands of apartments, and that's all Arab. Then over here you got apartments, they're all Jews. I mean, they're all forget about all the nations that's round about them. If God did not protect them, if God's hand was not protecting them, it would be impossible for them to exist. Ain't that right, Andy? It's unreal. It's mind-boggling, really.
One community after another.
Yeah, one community after another. I mean, you wouldn't drive a mile, and you'd go from a place where you was protected as Jew. Now, you was protected all the time you was there, as long as you stayed in that boundaries. But they said even us. Now he told me that they would have allowed us, but we'd had to have either an Arab or one of them kind of guides. So it's very different than what you would think. It'd be just like living here, and you couldn't go into Neosho. Now you go into Joplin, But if you started going to Webb City, they'd have a big sign there that you couldn't go. I'm talking about it's that close. And this, just on this side of the road, you got Jews living here, and they can't go across the road to the Arab communities. The Arab communities can come across over there, but it's unless you've been there. I mean, I never had that comprehension, but but this is Nazareth. There's Nazareth where Jesus was raised. Y'all know that he was born in Bethlehem, but raised in Nazareth. Now this is outside the city limits. Yeah. They're demonstrating this oil press, how it works to make oil from olive oil from olives. Here's a potter. Now this is outside the city. Here's a replica of the synagogue where Jesus read the scripture of Isaiah from in Luke chapter 4. This is a hotel we stayed at Tiberias. Now that food looks a lot better than it is.
Look at all the dishes.
Look at all the dishes there. They give you plenty of dishes, and none of them's good. There's a view of the Sea of Galilee from our hotel. We was right across the road from it. Now look at that. Now that'd make a gag of maggot. That's Peter's fish. But Andy and Brother Clark and Brother Aviv done good. They ate it like hog eating slop. I mean, it didn't bother them at all. There's a garden at our hotel we stayed at. We stayed in a nice place. Oh, this was something. This is the mountain of Beatitude. It was the most beautiful place. This is Matthew 5, 6, and 7, where Matthew done the sermon on where Jesus done the sermon on the mountain. Matthew. It was absolutely beautiful. They built it. It's a Catholic church up there. Catholic church built up there. There we are. We're on the Mount of Beatitudes. That's our first view of the Sea of Galilee. It is beautiful. Now this is so shocking because when you think of sea, you think of a great body of water. If you've ever been to Kentucky Lake, it's wider than that. I mean, I mean, probably a good swimmer could swim across. You reckon? Probably, I'd say yeah. What it was? 13 miles long. 13 miles long and 9 miles wide. So you know, and that's the Sea of Galilee. But the sea sets down in a valley. So they said what happens is wind will come across like from the Dead Sea or Mediterranean Sea or one of them seas over there. So it can be, they said it could be just as calm as could be. And in a moment, just like that, you've got a storm like would be like a tornado-like deal. You know, where Jesus went in the boat like that. So but that's the Sea of Galilee. I guess me and Brother Alvy are there. I think that's where the Catholic Church is built there. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. That's our guide. He was good. Very beautiful. Beautiful. And you drive right out of a desert. I mean, you're a desert. I mean, I'm talking about a desert. And then the next thing you know, you drive into something like this. It's not like it's just out of nowhere. So there's a mosaic tile inside of the church. That's that Catholic church. Beautiful church. Elegant. This is the original steps that Jesus walked on. Gives you kind of a chill, I'm going to tell you. They know that because that's the only way he could have went. In other words, that's not a matter of opinion. That's the only way he could have went. So it had to be those steps. That's where he handed me the water at the Sea of Galilee. It's beautiful. And I think that's around where Jesus done most of his preaching and miracles and things, was right around that area there. Now, this is another Catholic church, but this is where Jesus fed the 5,000 with the fish and loaves. This is Capernaum, the town of Jesus. The elder Aviv already found it.
The spelling's different because it's still in Hebrew.
Yeah, it's still in Hebrew, yeah.
So when you see the words that don't match up with the Bible, it's because it's in Hebrew and
Yeah,
not in English.
yeah. I figured we was going to have him for lunch. There's a statue of Peter. You know, the Catholics believe that Peter is the first pope, you know. Now, this is Peter's home. They're nearly, what was that?
It was A.
Well, that was A. They're positive this was Apostle Peter's home. How big would you say that was, Brother Andy? Man, what, you know, it wasn't, what?
8 by 10.
An 8 by 10, something like that. It wasn't very big at all. That's where, you know, Jesus healed Peter's mother-in-law, and she got up and preached to him. According to some. Here's the remains of the synagogue at Capernaum, built at 400 A.D. What in the dickens of that?
House of Peter. It's the
Okay, that's still the house of Peter. This was a town we was going when we was heading toward.
That's still the same place.
That's still
It's just
okay.
outside.
Okay.
This is where Brother Albert said he found the recipe to crawfish etouffee.
He said Brother Alvar said he found the recipe of crawfish etouffee on that. Them stones are massive. They're massive. Is that somebody's tunnel? Okay. Them stones are massive. I know I'm saying that, but it's unreal. That's oil press. I ain't got no idea what we're doing. I think we're eating some ice cream. Oh yeah, we stopped at this place here. Bunch of Arabs run it, and I got a Dr. Pepper there. I'm sure they'll be saved in the millennium. We're on the Sea of Galilee. And they raised the American flag for us. Yeah. That was an experience on that Sea of Galilee. It was. Jesus calmed the waters there and come walking on the water.
So why should I worry? Why should I fear when the very same Jesus stays always near, lives in my heart, and he hears when I cry. I can call on his name till the storm passes by.
Praise God. We asked Brother Andy to sing that. That's the Sea of Galilee. It's a beautiful sea. Water's really blue. Help, Lord.
15 to 20 different dishes.
I mean, you look at all them dishes on there, and ain't one of them fitting to eat. Here's the Jordan River. Now, they're baptizing folks, and this was so funny. They're baptizing people, and they must be brethren. You know, the Brethren Church baptizes you 3 times. One in the name of the Father, one in the name of the Son, and one in the name of the Holy Ghost. And what they'd do, come here. What they'd do, they didn't baptize like you're standing there, they just push you down in the water, and you come up. Well, as we're walking down there, somebody hands me a branch or something, wasn't it? I don't remember what they handed me. It had a bunch of water on it, so I sprinkled a whole bunch of them.
No, that wasn't there.
That wasn't there. That was the next place.
That was
See, I'm watching them baptized. Getting a wedding, nobody getting baptized. It's dirty. It's a lot dirtier than what it looks, I tell you. Here's the synagogue where Jesus taught in. Where the scrolls were kept. That same place, Andy? No, yeah. That's that stone that would have held the scrolls while Jesus taught. Here's Beth Sheen. Brother Alviar's talking about organizing another trip. If some would want to go. Okay, this is on top of that hill up there is where they hung the bodies of Saul's 7 sons and to gloat their victory. And remember, it wouldn't rain It wouldn't rain. And it didn't rain until they took the bodies down. That's a massive place. That's a temple. That's a massive place. It's unbelievable how big this Colosseum is. I think he said they'd hold about 50,000 people. It's a lot bigger than the other one. An instrument to move large stones. We couldn't figure that out. Jericho. We could drive right up to Jericho, but we couldn't go in it. It's run by Arabs. See the red sign? That informs you that Jews cannot drive on these roads. And this is in Israel.
Here we go.
Ahab the Arab sitting on that camel. Now, Andy and them rode on a camel. I didn't. I just sat on it to take that picture. Brother Paul Gregory, hold that right there. Brother Paul Gregory was a preacher on the West Coast. And this is the God's truth. It sounds like a lie, but it's not. Brother Gregory weighed about 500 pounds. And they put Brother Gregory on one of them camels. Brother Gregory got off the camel, and the camel jumped off the cliff. He said to die is better than this. He wasn't, that old fat preacher wasn't getting on him again. I mean, the camel jumps off of the cliff. It happened. Now that's them riding them camels. Clark's on a camel. Andy and Charity got on a camel. Did Brother Albert get on one?
No.
He didn't get on one. That's up Clark on that camel. There's the camels grazing. Boy, that was, look, I cannot tell you. I can't even begin to explain to you the feeling it is. It's so emotional. Here you drive over this hill, and the next thing you do, there's Jerusalem. It's breathtaking. It really is. It was one of the most moving things, I think, of the whole trip for me. It was so.
Is that the Dome of the Rock?
Yeah, that dome, there's Dome of the Rock. Now, that's one of the Muslims' holy places. You got Medina and Mecca and the Dome of the Rock. This is the third. Now, the Dome of the Rock sits where Solomon's temple was, which was also where David offered the sacrifice on an orange threshing floor that kept Israel from being killed. And it was a mountain that Abraham went to offer Isaac. So it is a very important mountain in that. So that is the Dome of the Rock where, so that's Temple Mount there. That's when we first get there. That's the only meal. That's not the first meal. That's the alfalfa and the omega. See, there at Israel, they're kosher. So if you eat meat, they can't have any dairy products. There can't be no dairy. There's no such thing as a cheeseburger. But this was not a kosher place. So that's the only cheeseburger I had the whole time. And the old Arab run that. Maybe he'll be saved in the judgment. That's tombs. Them tombs.
Molly Mountain
That's the Mount of Olives. They're all buried right there on Mount of Olives. Now, what is this? Okay, all right, this is Gethsemane. Boy, this was you talk about a moving deal. This is the Garden of Gethsemane. One of them trees there, they know is over 2,000 years old. It was there when Jesus was there. Very heavy. Then he saith unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here and watch with me. And he went a little further and fell on his face and prayed. O Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but thy will. And he cometh to his disciples, he findeth them asleep. Said unto Peter, what, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. He went away again and a second time and prayed, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away, except I may, thy will be done. When he came, he found them asleep again, for their eyes was heavy. He left them and went away again and prayed the third time and said the same words. Then he cometh to his disciples, say, sleep on, take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed in the hand of the sinners. Let us be going. Behold, he is of hand that betrayed me. That's a view of the eastern gate. That's where they feel like the Messiah will come back through. They've got it stoned up, thinking that's going to stop him.
That was at the Garden of Gethsemane.
Okay. This was a Catholic church at the Garden of Gethsemane. The work is unbelievable. The artwork, the sculpture, tile, it is unreal. It's beautiful. That's where we are, right outside it. The oldest olive tree in the Garden of Gethsemane. They say that's at least 2,000 years old. No doubt was there when Jesus prayed. There's just a feeling there. I can't describe it. It's just a feeling there. Tomb of Zechariah, the prophet. Tomb of Absalom, David's son that rebelled and was killed. There's a distant views from the tombs. Brother Alviar had been there 2 or 3 times, so he helped us on a lot of this. This is where we stayed at in Jerusalem, the King David Hotel. When we were there, the King of Ecuador was there. Matter of fact, I saw him. And 2 other, they was having some kind of embassy meeting when we were there. The President of Greece. Ecuador, yes, they were there. I saw the President of Ecuador. Beautiful hotel. This is where Trump stays when he comes. This is YMCA across from you've never seen a YMCA like this. It's right across from King David Hotel. When we were in the hotel there, they had all them Secret Service there from all those other countries. When we go down for breakfast, it'd be full of them. They'd all have them things in the ear, and all the time we were there, they were, automatic. You saw, it was unreal, the automatic machine guns that you saw there. Men, women, and all, they all carry them. Every policeman, a lot of citizens, they're all in that hotel carrying them. The guns everywhere. They don't aim to have another October 7th. We're at the Western Wall. This is the Wailing Wall. Yeah, see, we got that little yarmulkes are where they put on their head. Them are Jews praying at that. You can hear them. You can hear them when you turn a corner. I mean, they are moaning and praying and rocking at that Wailing Wall. It's moving. How can I tell how moving it is? You have to wash your hands before you go into it. And then you write your prayer on a paper and you stick it into the Western Wall. That's the waters of purification. Look, that's prayers in the wall, all them papers. That's prayers in the wall. Women pray on one side, men on the other. They're having a bar mitzvah. You do that when a boy turns 13. They're having that celebration. They're doing that, then they're taking him down to the Western Wall. This is right outside there. This is the dung gate.
I knew it.
Church of the Ascension, that's Catholic Church. That's the garden tomb. This is where they believe that Jesus was laid. What is that?
It's the plaques for the garden tomb.
These are plaques for the garden tomb. I don't know how sure they are of that.
Right.
Yeah, I think that was a B maybe.
Yeah, it was an A.
It was an A. This is inside the tomb, if this is the tomb. This is looking at it from the outside. This is Golgotha. It's where Jesus was crucified. This is positively it. No, it's not on a hill. You always hear that hill, but it's not on a hill. Because they walked by him. This is the house of Caiaphas, where they brought Jesus to be tried. And they went to Caiaphas, then they went to Herod, putting him back and forth. This is in one of them churches, isn't it? They got these churches. You got the Catholic Church and Greek Orthodox and Russian Orthodox, and then Jewish temples. This is the dungeon below Caiaphas' house. They think, they can't be for sure, but they think that's where they put Jesus at before they tried him, down in that hole there. Is this where we're going down in there? Where
It's down there.
we're going down there to the bottom down there. And he did that just for us.
Lord, we are humbled by your sacrifice. The fact that you would go to such depths and such extent for us who are unworthy.
Brother Alvear's praying.
There was no sin found in you. They could not even agree on an accusation of any crime against you. And yet you went the distance. The steps we have taken today to come down to this pit is but a small little part of what you were willing to do. I thank you, Lord, for being willing to come in the flesh, to redeem us, to save us. We could never save ourselves. We give you all the glory and the honor. thank you for this sacrifice. We thank you for the stripes that were laid on your back, probably in this place, so that we could claim healing. And we thank you for the blood that was shed on Calvary for our salvation. We give you all the glory and the honor today. In Jesus' name.
Amen. Where prisoners would have been have their hands tied over their heads and beaten. The original step Jesus would have walked on after the Last Supper. This is 100%. This is an A. Jesus walked down them steps himself. Blood would have been down them steps. Blood stained those steps. This statue of Peter denying the Lord. We're standing on the original steps. Help, Lord.
That was actually good bread.
Andy said that was good bread.
Here's where
Now this is where we had a discussion with our guide. This is commonly where most folks believe the upper room was, and of course I told our guide that wasn't right. That I believe Luke over him. Because Luke said in Luke 24:52 that they were continually in the temple praising and blessing God. When Herod built the temple, you had the temple proper. Then you had a place over here called the court of the Gentiles and the court of the women, where anybody could go. Anybody could go over there. Only the priest could go over here. Well, in the court of the Gentiles and the court of the women, there was an upper room. And so the Bible said in Acts 1, they were in an upper room praying, blessing God. Now here's why I don't believe this is it. Because on the day of Pentecost, the Jews were there celebrating the Feast of Pentecost. Where this is at, is distance away from the temple. So the people wouldn't have been there. But if they would have received the Holy Ghost in the upper room in the women's chambers up there in the temple, then when they came out of the upper room of the temple, all of the multitude would have been there. So that's my opinion. But our guide said, well, I've never heard that before, and from now on, I'll tell that there's two opinions on that I had one preacher that didn't believe this was the upper room. So I don't. Now this probably was the upper room where Jesus had the Last Supper. Now that's why they say that. This is probably the upper room where Jesus had the Last Supper and washed the disciples' feet. I don't think it's the same upper room. But now that's my opinion. If you don't believe that, you can always be lost. Now here's inside here. Now this looks bigger than it is. Now that's another point I had. You had 7 days there in there and 120 people. I'm telling you, it'd been hard to have 120 people in this room for 7 days. I ain't saying it couldn't be done, but they was awful close if it was done. But nevertheless, that's what most of the religious world believes. I'm outside there shaking my head. This is David's tomb. We went to the house of David. In fact, anybody wants to go in my office after service, I brought some souvenirs back from the house of David. And they are 99 and 9/10 positive. The building we was in was where the original house of David was. We're standing at Zion's gate. Look at that guy. Look at that guy. His great-great-grandfather's name was Goliath. Look how tall that guy is. He is 7.5 feet tall. Look at that rascal. You know how tall I am. I pointed my finger right at his belly button. There's some more of that good food. This is the old city, Jerusalem. Got all these shops there. No, boy, if you even nod your head, they're out there trying to sell you something. I mean, they are selling. That's a stone slab where they say they washed the body of Jesus.
Where they wash the body.
As you see in the picture on the wall, this is the
You know, them are Catholics there. You know how they are about that stuff. That's really a beautiful building that's in. It is. Look at that. It's magnificent.
Church of the Holy Sepulchre.
It's a Church of the Holy Sepulchre. We were wore out. We caught a ride to the hotel. We left them. This guy passed by in that cart and we flagged him down.
Via Della Rosa.
That's a
Via Della Rosa.
Via Della Rosa. Here's a pool of Bethesda. Now, that's what I'm talking about. Now, is that the only picture we have of that? Is that it? Huh? Okay, good. Now, I want you to see how that is. Now, look at that. Look at that. That done away with anything I ever thought about that. Look at that. I know when you're talking about a pool of Bethesda, you're thinking about kind of like a swimming pool and got a big old thing around there. I'm telling you, you can see that and understand why that guy never did get in the water. I mean, you know, if you hadn't been on that first level where you could have fell in or somebody pushed you in or helped you, if you was on one of those terraces up there, you'd never got in there. So that was mind blowing. That was eye opening to me, I tell you. It took away anything I ever thought. Here's a Holocaust Museum for the memorial show. That was rough. That was rough. Poor brother Andy got crying so hard in there he had to leave. I mean, it was rough. I'm telling you. Goodness, I can't tell you. Them kids' shoes and all that. Man, I've been to the Holocaust Museum in New York and in D.C., and it's nothing like this. This is for the children. Do you remember how many children? Oh, there's a candle for every child. Candle for every child they killed. Children, babies, infants. That's who the Nazis killed. That's all the Jewish books that they forbid. Confiscated all their books. The gold star that Jews wore in their clothing at all times to show who they were so they could be mistreated. Victim shoes. Took their shoes. It's horrible. It's horrible. That's pictures of those that was killed. You know, wound up killing 6 million of them. And since the Holocaust took place in Nazi Germany, the largest number of Jews that's been killed since then was on October 7th. And they wonder why Israel was bombing Iran. And they were ripping pregnant women open, pulling the babies out of the pregnant women and putting them in ovens and baking them. I mean, the heinous stuff that they done to them on October 7th, it was heinous. There's a menorah. Now, what they're hoping, you know, they're believing the Messiah will come, and there'll be a new temple, and that menorah is for the temple if they build it. That's a market there in Jerusalem. Yeah. After my macaroons. These are the Jewish quarters. We stopped to get a little something to drink. This is the original wall that Hezekiah built. That's that menorah. It's solid gold. It's worth $3.5 million. Right out in the middle. It's got glass around it. It's right out in the middle. We asked if they were worried about it. Said there's cameras all over Israel. Said you couldn't do nothing without them seeing you. No, you couldn't pick it up anyhow. There's a Dome of the Rock. Now the Jews can't go over there. Matter of fact, Clark got close to that going around the building, and he got in trouble himself. They stopped him. Where they took the ritual baths at. Now Andy and them, they went down them steps. I got too tired. I had them take me back to the hotel. I couldn't do all them steps. City of David. That's a marvelous place to visit. Here's the Kidron Valley. There's an original entrance to the temple. You know, they got it blocked off. Remains of David's palace. That was underneath this house where we was at. This is where they thought they put Jeremiah into prison. Look at the architecture. Each king had their own design on there. Hezekiah leads to the tomb of Solomon. Now this is something else too. You know, this ain't in the Bible, okay? This ain't in the Bible, but it has to be. When Jesus spit in that guy's face with the clay and told him to go to the pool of Siloam, it would have been an impossibility if somebody hadn't took him. We say, Andy, there's no way a blind person could ever got to where Jesus did that and told him to go wash. So even though it's not included in the narrative, when you go there, there's no doubt in my mind at all. So even though it's not in the Bible, somebody was there to take him. Ain't you glad you got somebody to take you to help you to get what you need from the Lord?
Amen.
This is inside the tunnel. Now, I think Andy and Clark went in there. I mean, that's water. Water waist deep, wasn't it, son?
It wasn't, no, it's about kneecap.
About kneecap deep. Waist to me.
1,800 foot long.
It's 1,800 foot long.
Chiseled through solid stone.
That's where they brought the water in to Jerusalem. There's the pool of Siloam. They're still doing digs there. That's the steps to the pool of Siloam. That's about David's harp. This is in the house of David. Yeah, that was one of them praying for him. It didn't do him much good, but he tried. That's the Wailing Wall. We're putting prayers in the Wailing Wall. That's the Dead Sea. They're floating on it. Me and Brother Aviv, we let them go. You can't go down. So much salt there to hold you up. A lot of people come and get that water. They said it's good for medicinal joints and stuff like that. They had mud all over them. Didn't help them none. There's Clark. Didn't help him either. There's caves where the Dead Sea Scrolls were found. The boys was out there just monkeying around, really. Throw the rock and chasing sheep or something. Throw the rock in a cave to see if one of the sheep was in there and they heard something break. There's one of the Dead Sea Scrolls, which will be the oldest manuscript we have of the book of Isaiah. The book of Isaiah was intact in there. That's that pottery where the scrolls were found inside. When was that, in the 50s or 60s? Now this is a model of the city of Jerusalem. The model was big. That's a model of the temple. Very fascinating, really.
Clarify everything for you. You asked me about the sheep gate. Where is the sheep gate? Look at the sheep gate. This is the wall in Jesus' time. See? This is the sheep. Outside the sheep. Outside of that. And today, this wall was added by Constantine.
Jordan Valley. That's the fence separating Jordan from Israel. Now, Jordan is friendly with them. The king of Jordan is friendly with them. Let me tell you, when we went there, mainly when you have a passport, they will stamp your passport where you've been. But if you go to Israel, they don't stamp your passport. They give you another paper to put on the outside. Because if your passport is stamped with Israel, a lot of Arab countries won't let you in. They won't let you in. This is Jordan River where they believe Jesus was baptized by John the Baptist. No, it's nasty. It's really dirty. That's a plaque about showing Jesus was baptized there. Now this was some Brother Aviv had never been before. This here is Hebron. Abraham, Sarah, Isaac, Rebekah, and Jacob is buried there. First time that Brother Aviv, he'd been there twice. He'd never got to go in there before. They just opened it up. So that completed his bucket list. It was moving too. This is Abraham. This is Sarah. I think this is Isaac. Rebecca. That Jacob. It's Jacob. And there's Jewish scholars are in there reading and studying. That's all over Israel. Spot among the fountain believed to be the closest to the holies of holies. And a lot of people come there and pray. A lot of people, closest they think of where the holies of holies was. This is underground. This is
Like there was that big stone that they don't know how.
okay. Move that back one, Brother Torrey. One more.
Yes.
This is that big stone. Do you remember how?
41 feet long,
41 feet long,
13 feet wide,
13 feet wide.
and 11 feet tall.
They don't have any idea how they got it in there.
Estimated to weigh over 1 million pounds.
Over 1 million pounds.
It's never been moved.
Never been moved. Never been moved. They have no idea how they done that. You know, you couldn't do that today with our equipment today. We couldn't do it. So how it was done. And that just one stone. There's bunches of them. I mean, I don't know whether God helped them or what they done, but we don't have the equipment today that can move that stone. No, it's not been invented. So how they did it, nobody knows. Is this the embassy?
Yes, sir.
I wanted to go see our embassy. They moved, Trump moved our embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem.
You about got run out of there.
I got run out of there. Some old raghead come out of there. And, they have ragheads down there for the security guards. Them Americans are really smart. There's a museum of the Dead Sea Scrolls. That was interesting. What is that? Okay, here's the replica. They copied this. This is the whole book of Isaiah that they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's a complete 66 books. That's the original scrolls. The original jar that the entire Isaiah was found in. Hey, that's what they think about our president. That's what they think about our president. We went in there. That's me and our ambassador, Mr. Huckabee. Okay. This young man here they held captive for 585 days. Is this the one that just went to New Jersey? I'm thinking this is the one that just went to New Jersey.
Was it his brother?
Was it his brother or was it him? But now this was American, right?
No.
This wasn't.
No.
Okay, but this wasn't him. This wasn't him.
Just went to New Jersey is the one they just released.
Okay, all right, we got that. Okay, that's one of them. And that's his parents. Yeah, this one's still in captivity. Been over 600 some odd days. This is Ambassador Mike Huckabee. I'm being questioned at the travel. They're wondering what they all got questioned when we got ready to leave. There's McDonald's. But it was kosher. No cheeseburgers. No ice cream with your burger. You had the ice cream, but you had to order at another place. Hey, look at there. That's when we landed in America. Newark, New Jersey. Now, if anybody wants to, I collected I bought some artifacts when I was there, and they're in my office if anybody wants to see them. And we got about 30 minutes till we have our fireworks. Everybody stay around and watch fireworks with us. And I got good news. We're going to have cold watermelon. Yeah, we